It's View from the West podcast, instant reacts for week number 9. Before I jump in with the WQAD crew, I had to get Mitch Stormer on the phone. Mitch, week 9, the season is over. The regular season is over. But man, did we go out with a bang. You've been on Twitter all night. You've been watching the live streams. I was at A-Town and United. United, that's one of the games we're going to talk about. They knock off previously undefeated A-Town. But Mitch, so many other games to talk about. I'll let you take over here. Give me some of the scores. Give me some of the stuff you saw, because I've been, seeing bits and pieces, but you've been all over it.
Yeah, this was a crazy week. And we're not immune to seeing upsets in week 9 and seeing crazy stuff happening, because it's just that time of year. But this was no exception. Greg, let's start in the Lincoln Trail. Okay. You had a red hot United team coming in against undefeated and at least the co-champs, A-Town. Keep in mind, United started the season at 1-3, and A-Town was undefeated, coming off a big win against Knoxville last week. United rolls in this one, 40-26. 40-26. They win their 5th straight game. They earn an automatic bid into the playoffs. And now, with the loss, A-Town and Knoxville will share that conference crown. Because A-Town holds the head-to-head tiebreaker, they still get the automatic bid in the eyes of the IHSA. But they now will share that conference title with Knoxville. So what a huge win for Coach David Milroy and the Red Storm.
So, Mitch, this was the game I was at. This is my second game of the night, and I got there at halftime, and United was up 20-6, and they really had control of that one. Second half, man, A-Town stormed right back. They scored twice, and they tied it up at 20-20. And, I give credit to United because they didn't flinch against an undefeated team, and they marched right back downfield, and they scored, and it would go back and forth. But that was the closest it would get as a tie game. A-Town never took the lead after that. And, United came away with, like you said, the big win. Yeah, huge credit to A-Town, or to United. And, huge credit to A-Town for a great season. They have everything to look forward to in the playoffs. But, man, United is on fire right now.
Yeah. And how about this? How about we stay in the Lincoln Trail? This was a team that you were big on when they were, I don't know if it was when they were 1-3 or when they were 2-3, but another team started 1-3, wins their 5th straight, and gets an automatic bid. That's Mercer County. They get the big win over Anawan Wethersfield, 36-18. So again, they, in dire outlook for them, they come off that week 2 game they had to cancel against Knoxville, and then they lose in one of the next 2 weeks. So they start off 1-3. Maybe you had that magic there. They end up 6-3 on the year. They will get that bid. And now it looks like the Lincoln Trail is going to have 4 teams coming out of there to get a playoff spot tomorrow night.
Yeah, it just, looking back on it, their schedule was so front loaded. And I thought, man, if they can play what their talent is, they can perform, I think they have a real shot to do damage. And they proved me right. I guess that's the best way. I'm glad they did, because they're a talented football team, and they're playing really good football heading into the playoffs.
And I think I just said 4. I don't know, because we're not editing these shows. They are going to get 6 teams in, I think, because you'll have A-Town, Knoxville, and Mercer County and United with 6 wins automatically. So it's 4 autos. Anawan Wethersfield at 5-4 should still get in, and staying in here for another point. Princeville gets the win tonight. Princeville gets a 29-7 win over Stark County, so they get their 5th win. I do think they'll have playoff points to get in. I hope they do, because another team that kind of was on the outside looking in, and they came back. So Princeville gets the win tonight, and so that is going to be at least eligible. 6 teams out of the LTC. I don't know if we saw that coming.
Yeah, huge credit to Lincoln Trail Conference. They're getting teams with some solid victories behind them, and I think it all, when you start seeing Knoxville and A-Town as good as they were all year, but then you have Mercer County and United right on their heels, and an Anawan Weathersfield team. Like, yeah, like we've talked about them. There's some talent here, and credit to Princeville for finding a way to get it done and get to that 5th win too.
Yep. And Greg, I don't know what our all-time most interaction is on a tweet, but the United Storm have some fans out tonight. We are really active on Twitter with that one, so they're loving it. Friends of the show there with the Red Storm, well deserved there. Let's go to the track, Greg, because a game that I didn't see coming at all, and really one that puts. I tweeted out that really puts the 2A playoff picture a little bit cloudier, because now it seems like there's a new contender knocking on the door, and that's Newman. They beat Kewanee, previously unbeaten Kewanee, the leaders of the East Division. They beat them 20-7 tonight. Kewanee held the lead for the longest time. Newman finally came back after a long drive in the 4th quarter. Get this, Greg, under 2 minutes left. Kewanee tries a fake field goal, and Newman stopped it to steal the win.
Wow. Just wow. I think, we've talked about Kewanee kind of, having to battle through and get some guts victories, and finally being the team to get the job done team. And man, I tell you what, Newman, look out, Mitch. They're getting hot at the right time. If they're healthy and they got things firing, like, hey, I don't think I need to tell you that Newman can be dangerous in the playoffs. Do I need to tell you that? I think we know that.
No, and it's a team that we talked about that, they weren't healthy. They were losing, they lost Marcus Williams for a couple of games there. They were sitting at 3-3, and we really didn't know because they had big games against Mendota, against Kewanee. I don't remember who they played in week 7. But yeah, credit to them, because they are playing Newman football when they need it the most. Looks like quarterback Cody Donna had a big night. He had the game-winning touchdown pass to Owen McBride. That was with about 6.5 left in the 4th. So, so Newman shakes up that division. That means that Kewanee and Princeton now share the Track East crown. Princeton was a big winner tonight. It was 55-18, I believe. Princeton got that one. Sorry, 55-14 over Monmouth Roseville. So again, kind of like in the LTC, Kewanee will hold the head-to-head tiebreaker, so they, in the eyes of the IHSA, do get that automatic bid the same way that A-Town does. But for general purposes, they do share that crown now. Other scores in the conference: Bureau Valley gets their 3rd win of the year, 34-7. Good win over Hall. Rock Ridge, let me give you some numbers here in a second. Rock Ridge defeats Orion 49-28. That means Rock Ridge should be playing secured a playoff spot tomorrow night. Orion unfortunately will not, and Erie Provincetown closes out the regular season closes out the regular season with a 25-6 win over Morrison. They of course were already the West champs, and they lock it down with that win tonight. Let me get you back over to that Rock Ridge game here, because I retweeted some stats from them. Let me give you this. Braden Demon. Yeah.
Mitch, you're kind of turning into the Brian Stocking here of the instant reacts. You got the scores, you got the stats.
I know I haven't hurt myself yet, so I'll save you the stories. Let me give you this from Rock Ridge, from Braden Deem, a name that you and I have talked about, this season a lot, even going back to the spring. Braden Deem was 8 of 15 passing for 135 yards and a touchdown. He added 136 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. 6 total touchdowns, over 270 total yards of offense. Wasn't just him, because you know who they've got. They've got Peyton Locke. He's a junior. He's coming back next year even. He had 215 yards and a touchdown. Nate Henry had 4 receptions for 89 yards and a touchdown. Alex Azar Latanis, chipped in just under 100 yards. So this Rock Ridge team, again, a team that you might not want to play in playoffs. When they're really clicking, they are really tough to beat.
Mitch, I heard it. I heard Jeff Henry, the head coach of Rock Ridge, being interviewed on WRMJ on my way back from my games that I covered tonight. And, he said, they feel like the way they're playing right now that, they know they're going to get a 9-0 team in the playoffs, coming in at 5-4, most likely. And they know that, it's easy to write them off as the 5-4 underdog. But man, the way they played against Kewanee, a 4A team that was undefeated at the time, and the way that they played tonight, man, that's a scary 5-4 team. It really is, because of the athletic talent they have at their skill positions. It makes them dangerous. and they're clicking right now.
Yeah, and even despite that loss to Kewanee last week, they played really well. So yeah, Rockridge is certainly a team I would not want to see either, and really looking forward to seeing who they get paired up with. Moving to the Western Big Six, this one was pretty much locked up. We knew that Moline beaten Sterling last weekend, so they were unofficially the champions of the conference. They are now officially the champions of the Western Big Six. They win 28-13 over Geneseo. That was a weird game. There was a lot of interceptions in this game, uncharacteristic from Moline. But again, that defense came through. I think that one time they both traded pick sixes. So, but Moline gets the win. Most importantly, they are the official champs. Sterling bounces back. Them and UT were going back and forth for a little while. Sterling wins 38-27. Rock Island, I'll see if I can get a score for you here while we're on the phone. They are up 42-18 over Quincy. So Rock Island really looking good. What else do we have here? Galesburg ended up winning 63-0 over Alleman.
Wow.
And so that wraps up the Western Big Six. So again, Moline does get the win. They will be the 2021 conference champions. And the Western Big Six will now have Moline, Sterling, Rock Island. And if some classes have 4 and 5 teams, a Quincy or a UT would be there. Galesburg also got the big win tonight. So, they finish up with 4 wins. So take that, Steve Susi. So that's another conference that at least has 3, and we'll wait to see tomorrow night what they're gonna if any of the 4 and 5 teams are gonna make in, because that seems to be a pretty big point of contention amongst the powers that be, and they think that will happen. I just don't know what classes where that'll be affected.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what 4 and 5 teams get in this year, just because of the numbers game. The way things shake out, there's going to be more and more teams making the playoffs at 5 and 4, and then that trickles down to 4 and 5. So it'll be really interesting to see how things shake up. Saturday night when the playoffs are announced. Mitch, we've talked this long, and I feel like you buried the lead. Come on, man. We talked every conference. We talked the big schools. Let's go to the small school powerhouse conference, the NUIC. Yeah. Tell me what's going on.
I don't know. I need to know. I need to know what happened here. This one start off here. This conference was wrapped up last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, in week 7, unofficially. But DuPec does get the win this week, so they won 22-0 over Stockton. So they are your 2021 NUIC champions first and foremost. But yeah, what you're referring to was a big matchup between 2 traditional 1A powerhouses. That was Lena, who came in at 7-1, and Forreston, who came in at 6-2. Lena was winning most of this game. And I think I might even played spoiler on this, because I think I tweeted that Lena Winslow, it was at the end of the third quarter and Lena was winning. And I said, it's leaning towards Lena here. And I said, I wouldn't mind seeing these 2 play again in the postseason, because that could happen. Little did I know, and I really want to find out what happened. Forreston comes up with the upset, a 22-20 win over the Panthers. Again, a game that could have been a toss-up, but I don't think I saw that coming. But what a win for the Cardinals! A great win, and so they and Lena both finish at 6-2 in the conference and 7-2 overall, and we'll wait to see how that affects the 1A seedings.
I mean, Forreston getting the win over Lena Winslow, I think that just solidifies how good the Northwest Upstate Illini is. I think that a win for Forreston.
Yeah, 4 teams with at least 7 wins in that conference.
Yeah, I mean, you think of if Forreston knocks off Lena Winslow, that makes the wins that DuPec has even better.
Yep.
That makes a Fulton win over Forreston look even better.
Yep.
We know how good Lena Winslow is. I think it boosts this whole conference up. I mean, crazy outcome. This was the one that, I sent the head exploding emoji, because I just, no offense to Forreston. I think they're a great team, but I expected this to be a good game. but I did not see this coming. I think if we're being honest, I thought Lena Winslow was going to come away with this win. Huge credit to Forreston. This is a statewide take notice type of win.
Yeah. Elsewhere in the conference and in 1A, Fulton gets the win 41-0 over Dakota. And Galena gets their 5th win. They beat East Dubuque 49-14. So again, looking back at the NUIC, you'll have Dupec, Lena, Forreston, Fulton, and probably Galena at 5-4 will get in. So 5 teams from the NUIC there. And again, we've said it. Kyle has said it with NUIC football. Historically, traditionally, recently, the state title has gone through the NUIC, whether that means that someone has to beat them to win it or they're just going to win it. And I don't see any reason why that's not, again, the case this year. And really just looking at 1A in general, A-Town was the only undefeated team, and they are no longer that way. So that'll shake that up a little bit. So really looking forward to what tomorrow night's going to bring in terms of those pairings.
Yeah, well, speaking of the NUIC and tomorrow night, Mitch, I'm headed to the heart of NUIC country.
Yep.
I'm meeting up with Kyle from NUICfootball.com. I'm joining his live playoff pairing show. So we'll be breaking down the brackets as they're announced. 8-man football, 1A, 2A, 3A. We'll be talking about all of it. And man, I'm really excited. I'm fired up. Are you going to be watching along, the pairing show and on NUICfootball.com on YouTube?
Yeah, we'll be all over it. We got Notre Dame, USC, and we got IHSA playoff pairing. So it's really going to be a good night. Let me leave you with this, Greg, before you get to the Instant React show with the score squad, because I want to beat Brian Stocking to it.
Okay. Yes.
This is courtesy of Terry Duckett from the Dispatch, friend of the show.
All right.
With Newman beating Kewanee, the Boilermakers take their first loss of the year, and the Comets deny Kewanee its first unbeaten season since 1946 and its first undefeated and untied campaign since 1934.
Wow. Good nugget of gold there from Terry Duckett and Mitch Stormer. Great stuff.
I take no credit in that. I'm just reading. So yeah, there you have it. It all kind of came to a head in like a 15-20. It was probably actually like an hour. It just seemed like everything was hitting bang, bang, bang. But what a week to cap off a really, really fun season.
Yeah, Mitch, I thank you so much for being all over Twitter. I was trying to follow along as I was running back and forth on the sidelines, but unbelievable night of high school football. Really leads us into what should be a very exciting playoff season. Mitch, you'll be back with me on Monday night, and we'll get a podcast recorded talking a little bit more about week 9 and then really diving into the playoffs. And that'll come out late Monday night or Tuesday morning. And, we'll get that ready to go. But for right now, thank you so much for joining me on the first half of the Instant Reacts. Coming up next, we'll talk to the score squad, as you called it. I like that. So they'll join me for the second half here. But Mitch, take a breath, take a breather, enjoy a little bit of peace and quiet here.
Yeah, about less than 24 hours before it all starts back up again. So time to regroup and get ready for tomorrow.
Sounds good. Mitch, we'll talk to you later.
All right, we'll see you.
Welcome into the second half of the View from the West Instant Reacts for Week 9. Now, Stock.
Yes.
Mitch Stormer, he jumped right in. He had final scores for me, so we've ran through all the final scores. We know them, but you got to step your game up here. I need some numbers. You got to give me some hard and fast. Give me some good stats.
We will. I think we'll do all right.
All right, Stock.
Even though you ditched me for the first half, I mean, I'm sort of hurt.
Well, but Mitch hasn't. Mitch, for several weeks, here's the Instant Reacts, and he's sitting at home wanting to jump in. Tonight, he had to. Tonight was wild. Week 9, craziness. Week 9 chaos.
Wildness.
Matt Randazzo, Week 9 chaos.
You just rolled over to me. I love it.
I know.
Yeah, it was great. Some teams really impressive going into the postseason. Thing that pops out to me is United. We got to talk to Coach Milroy on the score, tracked him down. 5 straight victories. They got their quarterback back that they didn't have, I believe, quarterback.
Aiden Parkins back. He looked great, and Cormac Flynn has been there all year. It looks good. Yeah, they played really well.
And you were down there.
I was there, yeah.
You know more than I do, but that one really, really impressed me. And the LTC will stay there because Mercer County's been playing really, really good. And quietly, they're 6-3, winners of 6 straight, and really impressed with what they're doing. I think the big stage of things, when you look at the big picture, there was some perfect seasons out there tonight that didn't happen. And Kewanee struggled last Saturday against Rock Ridge, and they fell today to Newman. So I think they're still a really good football team. It just shows how hard it is to go undefeated. A-Town had a chance to go undefeated. It's so hard to mentally and physically show up for 9 straight weeks and get victories in this area with all the good football teams and the schedules they have. So, but yeah, it's crazy. And now we start looking ahead to what Saturday night unfolds with us and the playoffs moving forward.
Yeah, but here's the thing with
Oh, I wasn't going to you yet. Hold on. Celia.
I love that.
Hold on a second, Stock. Celia, you were covering Kewanee Newman tonight. You've covered Newman throughout the season. I feel like Newman's getting healthy at the right time, and Newman is a dangerous football team to be playing well heading into the playoffs. They have the track record. If your other teams around the state, you got to look and think, Newman's back. They're playing well.
They literally have the track record.
That's right. They have it. I get it. Okay.
Get it?
So you were there tonight.
Yeah, so when I came into it, I really wasn't sure what to expect. I didn't know really who was going to strike first, but Kewanee kicked off, and immediately Newman returned the kickoff for 78 yards, and they were down at the 15 and immediately marched down the field and scored right there. And I overheard one of the coaches on the Newman staff saying, we needed to do that. They needed to set the tone in that game. They needed to come out and immediately make a statement. It ended up working out for them in the end, a close win, but a win no less. And I'm impressed. You know, they seem to do this in the postseason. They fire up right when they need to.
Yeah, they're playing well right now, and I agree. I think that Kewanee has had some scares over the last few weeks, and this was finally the team. Newman was finally the team to kind of push past and get the victory. Rockridge came close. A couple other teams came close. Newman's able to get it done. They head into the playoffs with a ton of momentum. Kewanee has everything still left in front of them. Such a good football team. Cuff, you are a Moliner. You're from Moline. And
I see what you did there. Yes, I am.
and they are outright Western Big Six champions. So as your alumni hat, congratulations. As your reporter hat, what do you see in Moline moving forward here? Let's talk Western Big Six champs, but also moving into the playoffs.
I like what they've done defensively. Obviously, they've played really well the past 6 weeks defensively. I think they've only given up 20 points, if I'm not mistaken on that one.
We'll confer with Stocking in a minute.
In a minute. One thing I would like to see more out of them is a little bit more passing, believe it or not. If you're going to play in Class 7A, you're going to have to be able to move the ball through the air a little bit. They have a really good ground game. Their linemen are pretty big. I know Matthew Bailey didn't play tonight. Bum shoulder, but they didn't need him tonight. But yeah, I would like to see them get a little bit more diverse offensively and throw the ball a little bit more.
Do you think that a part of it, me and Mitch talked about this earlier in the year, because we'd see some of the stat lines from Ponder, and it was like, yeah, he's not quite throwing the way that the Western Big 12 looked last year, you know?
Right. There it is. Wow. One last hammer.
But
hammer.
But what I'm saying is maybe they didn't need to. They were getting wins defensively, and they had leads where they didn't need to throw the ball all over the place. Maybe that's a part of it, but I agree. I think that there's potential there. They can certainly throw the ball. I think they'll need to do that, but also, like you said, defensively, man, defense shows up in the playoffs. If you play strong defensively, you're going to be in playoff games. That is very important. So yeah, I like that.
The other thing with them is they're going to see a lot of teams that they haven't seen, I guess, offensive schemes thrown at them now in the playoffs. A lot of those teams from Chicago are pretty diverse. Not that the Big Six isn't, but these teams are going to match up athletically, size-wise, height-wise, everything else. So, I mean, they can get a couple wins in the playoffs, but it's going to be tough.
All right, Stock, I'm not going to shun you the whole episode. Give me, right off the bat, nope. Give me your best stat. What do you got? Your best stat from tonight.
Tegan Davis had 6 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 3 passing. In the last 29 games, Princeton has scored 40 or plus points 21 times. And just getting back to A-Town. A-Town was playing at a disadvantage tonight because their head coach had been ejected in the game against Knoxville, and he had to sit out. He got an unsportsmanlike conduct call in the second quarter, and then in the second half, I believe it was early in the fourth quarter, according to what reports said, there was a horse collar. He reacted. He said, according to what he said, he didn't say anything bad, but the referee thought he did and threw the flag, and that was it for him that game. And by state rule, he has to sit out the next game as well.
So, yeah, he did. Yeah.
But I'm not taking any credit away from United. United's on their longest win streak, 5 wins since 2009.
That's the goal. That's good stat.
The Red Storm are going to be a tough out in the playoffs.
So United is on their longest winning streak since 2009. Great stat.
I had Tegan Davis.
He had
Princeton.
You read a box score.
I did not read the box score. You can't find a box score of 21 times in the last 29 games scoring 40 points or more, and they're 26-3 in those last 29 games.
That's good. I'm just saying the Keegan Davis stuff. Why he's so angry?
He's fired up. We're fired up tonight.
I'm just saying that last one was really good. That's really good.
It does show. It does show. It does show what Coach Milroy and United is putting together here, because that program, that's a proud program that won a state championship in their first year as a school. But, past that, they were a playoff contender, but then they really fell on hard times. So for them to get back and get a signature win, almost 2 signature wins. Go back to last week with Rushville Industry. This is great for David Milroy and that program. You hope that they can keep that momentum building into the playoffs and into next year, because, from year to year, you got to hope you can keep building that, because that.
Do they get a home? They don't get a home playoff game.
They'll be 6-3, so that's close. It might be.
It depends on what I think they'll be in 1A.
Yeah.
Most likely. So it depends. I don't know if 1A is going to be tough. I mean, you got all those Northwest Upstate Illini teams that are really good. Fulton, Lee Wynn, who lost tonight to Forreston. Dupac, who won tonight over Stockton.
Dupac will be a 3A team, but they're in the NUIC. Yeah.
But you look at some of those teams. Fulton, it's going to be a tough road for United, but. They're on a hot streak, and that's what you want to go in the playoffs hot.
Speaking of 1A, crazy impressed with Forreston beating Lena Winslow. I mean, I think Forreston's played great this year, but to beat Lena Winslow, the defending state champions, that is a huge victory. Mitch mentioned they were up early in that game.
Lee Wynn was.
Yeah, Lee Wynn was up early in that game, and Forreston came back. That conference is good year in and year out. But to see Fulton beat Forreston, and now Forreston beats Lee Wynn, it's just, that is really crazy. It makes it for a very interesting dynamic in Class 1A. That really shakes things up, because A-Town lost today, but Lee Wynn lost to go to 2 losses. So there's just a lot of moving and shaking in Class 1A. It's going to be really interesting for the brackets tomorrow.
1A is going to be a gauntlet in the North. I mean, whoever comes out of that will more likely be your state champion. The semifinal game in 1A on the north side may be your state championship game.
Yeah, I mean, that's always kind of the talk, is if the north side is that strong and it's, 16-16 on each side. My Marquette Crusaders are playing tomorrow against Fisher, so they have a chance to go to
Bunnies?
The Bunnies. They are playing against the Bunnies tomorrow.
Worst mascot.
No, it's the best. It's the best. They have the best.
No, the best is the pretzels.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you a little bit, but if you see the Fisher Bunnies helmet, it's awesome.
Is it more like a hare? Like, is it like a aggressive bunny?
Oh, it's an aggressive bunny. I'll show it to you. I'll tweet it at you.
No Roger Rabbit is what you're saying. Oh, that is an angry bunny. Wow.
Oh, there we go.
That's definitely. Oh my God, the carrots on the helmet. Is that a carrot?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's abominable.
It's great. It's amazing.
I can't. Yeah, that's a hair for sure. That thing's angry.
I'm glad we've dissected what it is.
They're a unique legend.
What I always heard was it's better to be a bunny than get beat by a bunny. So, see? There you go.
Did you just come up with that?
No, I've heard that. Like I said, I've heard that from other people. Yeah.
Nick Bull's favorite team. Bully's favorite team.
Get Nick Bull getting a shout out. Rock Ridge gets the win tonight.
They're now playoff eligible.
Yeah.
They're now playoff eligible at 5-4. And here's a team in Rock Ridge that 5-4. They've had some highs, they've had some lows, but man, there's so much athleticism in their skill positions. And for as well as they played against Kewanee and come up short to get that win tonight, like we talked about it last week, like they got to be dangerous come playoff time next week.
And you look at their losses besides Princeton. The one against Kewanee was 12 points, but they were leading with 2 minutes to go.
Yep.
And then Erie Propstown was 2 points, I think.
And that was a back and forth game.
And I'm missing another one as well that they lost. Oh, Monmouth Roseville was close till the very end. I mean, they ended up losing that
I think 12-8.
And that was in the rain.
Yeah.
18-15, I think, was the final of that one.
Okay. Yep.
Again, I'm intrigued to see how good they do in the postseason. They have all the talent in the world, and they returned a lot of players that didn't get to play in that postseason last year, and they wanted that spring season, the postseason. So that's what makes tomorrow special, is that we get to finally have a pairings show and a playoffs that we didn't get to have last year. So it'll be a ton. I'm still reeling after he screamed at me.
Talking about Rock Ridge, just looking at Class 2A, they could end up meeting up against a Farmington who went undefeated, or a Knoxville who has 1 loss. Potentially as a first-round matchup for them.
Well, so I mentioned to Mitch in the first half of this episode, I heard Jeff Henry on WRMJ. Don't you feel like...
He was on the score, too.
Okay, awesome. But don't you feel like this Rockridge team, he says that they have every bit of the confidence going into the playoffs because the way they've played the last few weeks, like, yeah, they're 5-4, but they can hang with anybody in 2A.
They nearly beat an 8-1 Kewanee team that might end up in 4A.
Exactly.
I mean, you went toe-to-toe with one of the best 3A/4A teams in the state and probably should have beat them. You handled an Orion team that's been really good and showed great signs. So absolutely. And the skill positions, and Brayden Dean played great, and Peyton Locke's a fantastic player. And that offensive line that maybe struggled early in the season because they were so young is getting better and better. They're not young anymore. They've had 9 games now. So really intrigued to see what Rock Ridge does. Go to somebody besides him.
Plus, with Brayden Deem's ability as an RPO quarterback, he had 5 rushing touchdowns tonight. He can mask maybe some deficiencies in the line with his great playmaking ability. Also, Peyton Locke, Dazzo touched on Peyton Locke and Henry. They are a very good offensive team, and if their defense can hold like tonight, hold serve like they did tonight against Orion, they could pull an upset or two.
Have you ever watched
That defense held Kewanee to 14 points until 2 minutes to go, and there were 2 touchdowns off of turnovers that got those. I mean, that defense played really good the last couple weeks.
Well. Absolutely. Yeah, their defense has played well.
But have you ever seen them play in person?
I seen them on YouTube.
Okay. Well, all right.
Just wanted to check.
Okay.
Just wanted to check.
Hey, we're not throwing shade here.
Oh, are you kidding me?
We like shade.
We're not throwing shade. Who?
We're going off the rails here.
Matt is wearing a shower cap right now.
Yeah.
What are you, lunch lady?
Yeah, Dazzle, you got a hairnet on? Like, what's happening here? Cuff, what do you got?
He needs to wear when he cooks.
Tomorrow to me is like Christmas morning.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It really is. I mean, to get the playoff pairings, luckily I get them a little bit early because the IHSA sends them to us and embargoes them, so we can't do anything with them. But just to sit back and
$25, I can forward them to you.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't say that on the air there. That's, you get in trouble for that.
But it's always fun just to see these teams excited to get their names called and then kind of match up the pairings after that to see like, okay, they're playing them. It's a 6-3 and a 5-4. This could be a good matchup type of thing. And yeah, tomorrow night's just a fun night to get all the pairings.
I love IHSA pairing night. I think they do a great job with it. I am headed into the heart of the Northwest Upstate Illini tomorrow night. I'm joining
Congratulations.
NUI. Well, by tomorrow, I mean when most people are listening to this, it's today. It's happening later tonight for listening on Saturday. Saturday night, 7 o'clock, live on YouTube. Head to nuicfootball.com on YouTube. Search for it there. You'll find it. We'll be live breaking down the brackets as they come out. I'm really excited. Kyle Kampmeyer does a great job covering not just the NUIC, but small school football in this side of the state, but also the whole state. We'll do 8-man, 1A, 2A, 3A. We'll break it all down. Really excited. So 7 o'clock, youtube.com/NUIC football. Give us a watch. I would appreciate it. Stock, what do you got?
From what Steve Susi was saying, Kewanee and Princeton are on the bubble between 3A and 4A. So Kewanee and Princeton may be going up to 4A, even though all year they've been ranked in 3A. Also, according to what Steve Susi said tonight, 255 teams are 5 and 4. I think there's 4 or 5 games tomorrow pitting where 4 and 4 teams will get to 5 wins. In other words, there are going to be some 5 and 4 teams that are going to be left out, and no 4 and 5 teams are going to be going to get in. So Galesburg, who had a great season.
Wait, no 4 and 5 teams are going to get in?
Here for weeks and weeks talking about 4 and 5 teams and no. I'm mad about that.
But that's the way
I don't know that that's accurate.
That's why I saw it at one of his last posts during the night. One of his posts during the night was 255 teams are at the requisite total or have qualified, and there might be a couple 5 and 4 teams even left out.
I don't have the math smarts to break it down week by week, so I can't really speak intelligently about it. But I do know that it's been. I can't speak intelligently about a lot of things. But here we go. We're gonna quote Steve Susi.
It says this was from an hour ago. The dream is about dash for 4 and 5 teams. 255 teams have 5 or more wins. 4 and 4s play Saturday.
All right.
And only 256 make it.
Yep.
So there's only one spot left.
All right. So there we go.
I'm
That's
just annoyed that you, for the last month and a half, have brought up 4
not just him. It's not just him. There's been it's been talked about across the state because
it's just Stockwell. I've heard nobody else.
Stockwell. Stockwell's.
Delicious.
Jackson Stone has been talked about this week in the paper.
Oh man.
We're off the rails.
We have derailed here, folks. All right. Thank you.
I don't know who to trust anymore. I used to trust stock.
Is that even true?
No, I haven't.
You've never trusted Stock.
Yeah. All right.
He's so mad at me right now. Look at him.
To everybody listening, thank you.
And don't do it again.
Thank you. Oh, keep doing it. Yeah, please keep doing it. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Are we doing a final word here? Are we doing a final thought? All right. We're starting with Stock. Final thoughts.
One thought. I think that it's going to be very interesting to see how far the Western Big Six goes, because Montini is not going to make the playoffs, as in Bennett might not make it either. So those are 2 losses that Sterling and Moline had. It could affect their seeding, and there's only going to be 3 Western Big Six teams, Sterling, Moline, and Rocky, that make the playoffs.
All right. Cuff, what do you got?
I'm curious to see how well Fulton does. Playing in the NUIC this year, the amount of competition they had this year, they're a very good team. They're going to be a tough out. I see them making a deep run in the postseason.
I'm high on Newman. I'm excited to see what they do.
I like it.
I'm still pumped about United. I think it's them and Rock Ridge are 2 teams that come into the postseason, and Mercer County, that I'm interested to see if those 3 teams can upset people in the first round of the playoffs. I don't know if United will be an upset because they're now 6, or Mercer County.
6
they're
and
both
3,
6.
yeah.
So they're going to have. So I mean, I'm curious to see how those 3 teams off the top of my head do. And Stocking lied throughout the last month.
I am not. Steve Susi and both Steve Susi and Jackson Stone have been talking about 4 and 5 teams making the playoffs for, if not the last week, the last several weeks.
All right,
I
Inspector
report what
Gadget.
they say.
All right. I am going to cheat and do 2 final thoughts.
It's your podcast. You can do what you want.
Did anyone mention Rock Ridge?
He mentioned.
Okay. I think that they're a dangerous 5 and 4 team. They'll get a tough matchup for sure, but I'm just really curious to see if they come with a good game plan and can execute. It'd be crazy to see them get a win. It'd be fun. And also looking at the 1A North bracket with Forreston getting the win tonight. You still have Lee Win in there at 2 losses, but Fulton's in there, like Cuff said. I just think that 1A North is going to be a gauntlet. It's going to be fun. It always is, but it just, with the Forreston win tonight, I think it kind of shakes everything up. So that's what we got. If you're listening to this, I'm sure it's Saturday. It's already Saturday here where we're at too, technically right now. But tune in tonight, youtube.com/NUIC football. We'll be breaking down the brackets live. And then come Monday night, late Monday night into Tuesday morning, me and Mitch Stormer will release our podcast with a little bit of week 9, but then a big playoff preview. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. This is a ton of fun. We got a ton of fun coming up in the next 4-5 weeks, whatever it is, heading into Thanksgiving weekend. So hopefully we'll be headed to DeKalb to cover one of our local teams. We will talk to you later on.